Oh, I didn't know you were there. But I'm glad you are, because today we've got a great show with Aimee Velasquez. She's going to show us 2 of her favorite exercises, and then we've got a first at Kilo Club in Summerlin, Las Vegas. Aimee's going to show us something that's never been done here. Stay tuned. So Aimee, we're here at the squat rack.
Yes.
What you got for me?
So today I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite workouts for the glutes, mainly the hamstring tie-in, because I am an IFBB Bikini Pro. So this is one of those crucial back shots that we really need to win a show. So
Awesome, I'll let you to it.
Bikini's one from the back, okay? Basically this is a deficit RDL. Right now I have an Olympic barbell with 245 plates. I'm standing on an elevated plate right now. I'm going to wrap my wrist straps around each side. Then I'm going to conventionally deadlift the bar up. So I want to pull my shoulders back and lock out my lats. Squat back, sit deep, press up. From here, we're going to bend at the hips, hinge all the way, keeping the bar close to your body, popping up with power.
That looked intense.
Felt good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it felt good.
So why do you get on an elevated platform?
So we have the elevated platform so that we can get a deeper range of motion and get a deeper stretch of the hamstrings.
And how many sets do you normally do?
I do 3 sets in total. My first set's always my heaviest, 10 reps. Second set, I'll drop it down a little bit of weight, 12 reps. Last set, 15 reps with a little bit lower weight.
It's hard to work out and talk, isn't it?
Yeah, a little winded.
Awesome, that was great.
But yeah, this is one of my favorite ones, especially with that deep stretch in the hamstring. Really does good. Glutes
and tie-ins are so important in really all levels of bodybuilding, male and female. And it's also really difficult to really get some change. But I think, and I'm not looking Christian, but I think some of the stuff that I saw when you were on stage, some of your photos, you did increase your butt size.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So much that I went from being about 11 weeks out to about less than 4.
Wow.
Yeah, because my coach is just, she said that she expected this amount of growth with my genetics and my hard work, but in 4 to 6 months. But she was like, we did it in 3, and she's like, I want to put you on stage right now. And she's like, I want to push you. She's like, are you okay with me pushing you so that we can meet this conditioning? Because you're gonna shock those judges, and you're gonna she's just so excited, and she gets me so excited because she's the GOAT. Like, she's the GOAT coach here in this sport, and she's created such an amazing, big, loving community within this sport. And so her opinion, her voice, it matters so much to me. And I know she knows exactly what they want, what they're looking for. So the fact that she's this excited for me to show up, it's an incredible feeling. And I know that we've put in a lot of work in the glutes. We're training glutes 3 times a week.
3 times.
Which is hard.
Yeah.
It takes everything out of you. Like, I'm a mom, and I don't ever take naps until I hit glute day. With my new trainer, her name's Talia Marie Vaughn on Instagram. She's a world champion powerlifter. She's also a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And so she's the one who's been personally training me in person 3 times a week. And my physique has taken off insanely. So I'm very excited to show it on stage.
So other than that exercise, what, because I know a lot of women are like, I want that butt. What are some of the other key exercises you do for the bubble?
Okay. So every week we hit the same movements, and we make sure we progress in those movements. So those movements are the deficit RDLs, hip thrust, squats, and
weighted squats?
Yes, we do back squats, but recently we transitioned to the Smith machine so we can put more load on the glutes, isolated more than hitting the quads. And then last is the barbell split squats. So we use those, and then we have some accessory movements like kickbacks and stuff like that. But the hip thrusts, all those are very heavy. They're loaded. We have a specific structure where we hit everything. As far as like what we're doing, the reps, the weight, everything remains the same. We always progress in the weight, but we have strength blocks where every 4 weeks we'll switch it up, but not the movements, not the protocols of it, but we'll switch up how we do it. So we might add a band, or we might do the tempo, or we might do a 2-second pause at the top, things like that. We'll definitely switch that up so that I can continue to get stronger in these movements. And it's worked.
How can you separate the top 10 girls? They all look amazing. They almost all look perfect. Getting on that stage is, I think, just an amazing accomplishment.
Of course,
as
it's
it
a
is.
Prestigious stage,
But I think you have the ability to win it. And the reason I think you have the ability to win it is because you're posing and your confidence when you're posing. And I haven't seen a lot of your posing, but what I've seen is next level. You're also a posing coach.
Full time. I never had a posing coach. I can easily look at a girl and know exactly how to position my body to get that same look. Obviously not her look, but get that look on my body and make my angles and my structure look just as good. You have to perform, and if you're not on, you're off. And you have to be on when you step on stage.
So Amy, we're gonna do some upper body over here, huh?
Yes, we are. Here I have an incline dumbbell chest press that I'm going to show you guys. Awesome. This here is gonna target the chest with the main muscle, but it's also gonna really help you tie in where the chest meets the front delt. So we're going to have an incline bench, dumbbells. You're gonna want flat feet on the ground. As you sit back, you want to bring the dumbbells up here to your chest. Press your shoulders into the bench. Straight arms, come down to your chest, push it back up.
I love that exercise, but a lot of women don't do presses.
No.
But you say why they should.
So, as a bikini competitor, we hit our front pose, and they really want rounded, nice, full shoulder caps. So whenever we hit the front pose, if we're not working out our chest, then you can get like it's like someone took an ice cream scoop and just scooped out your front delt. So that's where you get that nice tie-in muscle coming in from the chest, meeting the front delt to make it nice and full and round.
Okay, I like it. I learned something today.
Yeah, and it also targets a lot of your shoulders. So lots of people think that it doesn't, but it really targets the front delts too,
especially
the chest.
When you're on the incline.
Yep.
Yep. Awesome. Women and chest presses, and a lot of them in the bikini bodybuilding world are enhanced, and they don't do it because of that.
You're talking about boobs?
Yes.
Okay.
And so are you enhanced?
Yes.
So, it's usually the doctor that says don't do it or do it or whatever. And so some of the issues around that?
Some of it, yes, because every doctor does their practice differently. Some do over the muscle, some do under the muscle. Right. So that's the big difference between the two. So I have mine under the muscle, which I prefer better just because of the overall aesthetic look. Mm-hmm. When you reach a very, very low body fat percentage, it's under the muscle, so it still looks very natural. If you have an implant over the muscle, the skin really sticks to that implant, and you can see like some ripples or that type of stuff. But When it comes to chest stuff, you really can't go super heavy if you have it over the muscle. From what I've experienced with, as far as other feedback from other competitors, what their doctors have told them. But I don't have any specific feedback for, my personal experience as far as what my doctor recommends. But they said that I'm fine because I was cheering, like still doing like college pop-ins here and there, just stunting and tumbling back then when I got my my augmentation. So I wasn't restricted in any like flipping movements or anything like that. I just know that you just have to be careful if depending on where it's placed, either above or under the muscle.
Got it. And then my other question is, you mentioned natural athlete and the current environment being a pro and the other enhancements. And it's kind of getting where, like with the men's divisions, it's like, especially the heavyweights, it's like, if you're not on the gear, you're not on stage, you're not winning.
That's true.
How do you feel about it entering bikini body? Because I don't think it's kind of, it started maybe 5 years ago, I think, or more.
Yeah.
And then now it's really prevalent.
Yes.
What do you feel about that?
Of course, being a man, you have to, because the level of the caliber of talent of what they show up with, especially at the Olympia. So the two most prestigious stages are the Olympia and the Arnold's. So whoever wins the Olympia or the Arnold's, they're usually the face of what the judges are looking for with their body structure and type. So if the guy that wins Mr. Olympia, if he's so huge, if you want to beat him and be successful, you got to be just as big or bigger. Yeah. So, and if he's taking, a bunch of gear, which, most of them, they have to, and they are, then that means that's just something that you got to have a chat with yourself and see if that's something you want to do. Right. When it comes to the bikini division, you don't have to at all, because the requirement of muscle is restricted versus the bodybuilding for men is like who can get the biggest, who can get the widest, and all that stuff. So that's just, there's no cap on that, on the division 212, there's a weight cap where you have to stay in that weight cap, but genetics play a huge role in that. You can get really big if you're genetically gifted in certain areas. But with bikini, I turn pro natural. You can turn pro natural. You do not have to run on anything. Of course, genetics always play a role in every single person. But no, the requirement of muscle is a lot less, and we can't get too big. Like,
well, there's other types of gear too. There's,
like fat burning,
ripping gear.
Yeah, there is.
Anavar and
I don't know much about the fat burning stuff. From what I've heard, it's just taxing on the heart because it's a fat burning, and in order to get the fat burning process to correlate with your body, you gotta get your heart rate up. Right. So I heard that's really taxing on your heart and stuff. So I don't mess with any of that stuff. I don't. But personally, I don't have any issues getting lean. But when I reach a level of leanness, my body does not like to get any leaner than that. But we just, just gotta try new things to see what my body likes and what works for me. But yeah, you don't have to run. You don't have to do all these things. But some girls, it's necessary because of their genetics. So some girls say they've been training for 2 years and they've been consistent and they've been in the gym, they're lifting and they are eating, but their glutes aren't growing. And that's just genetically, their genetics are just fighting them. Right. They're against them. So
white girl booty.
Yeah. Right. So you just gotta, you get what you get, and then you gotta work around it based on how you feel about the sport.
Getting in a micro bikini on stage and being judged by judges right next to other girls that look amazing as well. Yeah. Like, that's like a big leap. What was the thing that kind of clicked in for that?
I've always been on stage being judged and being in a miniskirt and a crop top for cheerleading with my hair all done with makeup and everything. So that felt normal to me. That was not such a big change. But being judged on your actual body is the way you look. That's totally different, because that can really, hinder your self-esteem, especially if you don't do too well or well as you expected.
so excited about this segment. You're my first bikini bodybuilder in heels at Kilo Club.
Yay!
I love
Yes.
this. You're going to show us some cool things about posing.
Yes. I'll show you guys my 3 tips that I think is most important that every bikini competitor should know.
I'll leave you to it.
We're gonna talk about the front pose and the back pose. So in the front pose, it's all about, bikini's all about balance, structure, and making your body look symmetrical. So whenever you hit the front pose, you always wanna stand your full body weight on one leg at all times. If we put weight in our popped foot, then we're gonna be off balance and be leaning over. So really need to stand tall, don't push in the glutes too much, stand tall, and we want the arms to be straight, chest to be forward, and shoulders and arm visible to be seen. From here, you will step back and go into our model pose to transition around to our next topic, which is the back pose. So in the back pose, again, about balance, structure, and making sure that the judges can see nice, rounded, full shoulders, tiny waist, and full glutes. And how we're gonna do that is we're going to arch our lower back, bend your knees slightly to relieve pressure for the tie-ins that meet the glutes. Then we're going to pull your delts back, keep your chest up nice and high while keeping a good arch. We'd never want to bend over and lean forward to show that those glute tie-ins because it really flattens out the top round of your glutes. And we don't want that. And also, if we lean too forward, we miss the shoulders at the judge's angle because judges do stand lower, have a lower point of view for the back pose. So here, and then you will transition around. And the side pose, whenever you go to the side pose, a lot of my competitors like to turn and hit the side here. And we wanna make sure we're turning enough so that we show the glute, hide the midsection. If we stand here like this, see how we can see some rib flaring and we don't really get much glute? We wanna make sure that when you hit your side pose, you want to turn enough to show this full front glute, hide your midsection, and pop your chest so that we can see that pop of color in your suit.
Now, you were saying before that confidence comes from what?
From knowledge is power. So if you know what you're doing, and if you're questioning what you're doing, that's when you can really feel like, am I doing this right? Do I know if I'm doing this right? Does it look good on me? Does it look my best? So really getting a posing coach can take out all of those questions for you and really give you that confidence that you know that you're posing right.
How did Amy do? This is really one of her first, was it your first?
It was like my 3rd shoot, ever. Third shoot. And my first shoots were with like my best friend. I had her there and it was just more comfortable as far as like my first time. Right. But he did great. He did great at making me feel good and making me feel confident and stuff.
I've never seen anybody do so much in a shoot. Because when I look back at what was going on, like what we put on her plate, so there were several things going on there. She was doing the podcasting, the workouts, right, the photo shoot. She was actually working out, and then she had to pose. That's a lot. Right. It's enough to worry. I mean, you've done shoots where you were just shooting. If you're just doing a photo shoot,
oh yeah,
she was dealing with multiple tasks.
Right.
And at one point, I'm like, wow, I wonder if she's getting overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed just watching her. I was like, wow, there's a lot going on.
Right.
And then between me and that, me, Christian, and George, we doing behind the scenes. Right. There was a lot of movement. You know, but she pulled it off. You know, and obviously, as a posing coach, it's very hard for her to look bad in front of a camera. She knows how to stand naturally. Right. If there's a bad picture, that's 100% on me. Either I angled the camera wrong, or I got the lighting wrong, or I flattened her out because the lighting was hitting her on. Right. But I mean, it was a fun time. It was a unique shoot. I've never shot like that before. Right. But it's probably one of the most incredible clubs I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. You know, the lighting's unbelievable. But that type of a shooting situation, like, it will challenge you because you're trying to satisfy what you're used to shooting, which typically I shoot a blacked out background where the subject is primarily focused. And because of the lighting, we wanted to get more of the background in, you know, and now there's a lot of these humongous mirrors where I had to get the lights out of the mirror. Right. And then she had clothes that were kind of dark that would get lost in the background. Yeah. And I've never shot her before, so I'm not sure what angles her body's gonna look good at. Right. I mean, it was a lot. I'm surprised we all pulled it off. All of us is within 2 hours too. Yeah. Like within 2 hours.
Guerrilla style. Yeah. So The confidence you have on stage is one thing. The confidence you have probably in the gym now that you're training with a strength coach and the experience you've had. The next level of being on video, talking while you're working out for a podcast and photo shoot where he's wanting you to be sexy. There's a lot there.
It was a lot.
But you want to do more. You actually have to do more of that to really build your brand.
Yep.
Are you excited about that? Nervous or what?
I'm very nervous. Like I remember whenever I turned pro, they always interview the overall winner. And that year it was COVID, and they had the Olympia like a week after. So the JM had to fly out to the Olympia, and that only flight available was the next morning, and that's usually whenever they do it and everything. So they passed on the interview and everything, and I was like, thank you. But then part of me now, when I look back, I'm like, I should have taken, like, you know, I should have been wanting to do that opportunity instead of being scared and running away, because I'm going to have to, if I want to be who I want to be, I got to face these challenges and show up and you know, speak my voice. So yeah, it was hard, but I'm going to keep showing up, and I'll just get better as I go.